Hello foodie friends! This month we're going to explore the world of wartime rationing, specifically World War II, because there are so many recipes to choose from that era. Now, I went on eBay and I managed to pick up for a few dollars an original little pamphlet that was published in 1943 by the Swan's Down company that has several baking recipes in it. And what's kind of exciting about that is, as most of you know, Swan's Down is still making their flour. So not only was I able to get an original 1943 copy of their recipes, but I was also able to get a box of the flour that, of course, they recommend using. So it's going to be kind of fun to see if the modern incarnation of this flour stacks up to how good they said it was going to be in 1943. Now, what's really interesting about this pamphlet and what kind of made it a little hard to choose is they give you several recipes for several different cakes and cookies, each one not using a specific ingredient. So you have a cake with no eggs, you have one with no sugar, you also have one with no shortening because of course all of those were rationed. You also have exactly how many eggs each recipe is going to use because you needed to use ration coupons to get eggs also. But I finally picked one that was called a honey spice cake for two reasons. Number one, it had a T right here in pencil, which made me wonder, did the person mark tried on that particular recipe? So I kind of wanted to do the recipe that had been originally chosen by the person who bought this in 1943. Also, I decided because it was no sugar that it would be kind of an interesting cake that may still be relevant for today, as a lot of different people for all kinds of different reasons are trying to eliminate sugar out of their diet. Now, before we get started baking, I've actually had a subscriber request that we do a question and answer video. So I'm going to go ahead and start collecting those questions as we go along with our regular videos, and then as soon as I get enough, we'll go ahead and do that video. So if there's a question that you would like to know about this channel, about myself, about the cookbooks, whatever kind of question you might have, go ahead and put that in the comment section below and I will start collecting. So let's go ahead and get started on this cake. I'm really excited to see what a wartime cake with no sugar is going to taste like.
of presenting to you the President of the United States.
We must appraise the events of 1942 according to their relative importance. We must exercise a sense of proportion. First in importance in the American theme has been the inspiring proof of the great qualities of our fighting men. They have demonstrated these qualities in adversity as well as in victory. As long as our flag flies over this capital, Americans will honor the soldiers, sailors, and Marines who fought our...
Okay, I am so excited for this one because it smells wonderful and there's just something really cool about a recipe from 1943. All right.
Let's do this.
See how it stands the test of time. I think the first bite was wonderful.
It is very good. It's very like a coffee cake kind of
Yeah.
cake. Like not like
I think so too.
Not like birthday cake kind of cake. You know what I mean? But it's one that like I will probably eat a slice of this every morning with my coffee.
Yeah, it's like an everyday cake.
Yeah, and I don't feel like it's sweet, but it's not so sweet that I feel bad for eating it.
You know, that's what I was going to say. I don't miss the sugar
Right.
in it. I mean, it does have a lot of honey. Now, one thing I will say about it, I really like the texture.
Yeah.
But something else that's really cool about it, you can actually taste the lemon.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of lemon peel. You can taste it. You can definitely taste the allspice.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But you can also taste the honey.
Yeah.
Like all of it kind of, like no one ingredient overpowers the other one.
Right, but at the same time, like, they all play a definite role in the flavor of the cake. Like,
yes.
I don't know that you could have left any of that out and had come out with the same flavor of, cake. It's very light. It's not, it's not a super dense cake. It's not something that, like, I don't think, like, after eating this slice, I'm going to feel, like, weighed down at all.
It is really super light.
Yeah.
It's really nice on the tongue.
Yeah.
Really good texture. Okay, I am really excited because my expectations were really high for this and they were met.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool thing. I had forgotten, I've used this a couple of times in the past, but not very often at all.
Right.
I had forgotten how really nice and fluffy and light and sifted the flour already is. And I think, with this saying to sift it, basically I sifted it 4 times in this recipe. With it already being sifted and then you come in and you sift it another 4 times, it really does make a big difference on the texture. So if you are going to make this cake, if you can get Swans down, I would definitely recommend sticking with the recipe on that one. If you can't, and you're going to use, like a regular all-purpose flour, do not skip on the sifting. Yeah. Because that's where you're going to get your really nice, light, fluffy crumb from this cake. So, yeah, I was a little bit skeptical about how many times I had to sift this thing. But I think the end result was actually worth the effort from it.
It was very good.
So, and as far as this little pamphlet, I'm really glad I picked this up. I found it just for a few dollars on eBay. My favorite place. I've had my account for over 20 years. I mean, I'm just a huge eBayer. I love it. I really enjoyed not only this recipe, but I enjoyed just reading it. Because you're getting a neat little peek into the mindset of 1940s rationing wartime America. So I really like that. Now, in terms of like not using any sugar at all, you know, we really meant we don't miss it.
No.
So if you're looking for ways to use more natural sweeteners like honey and, you know, cut down on your white refined sugar, this is a really good recipe to try it with. I think you're really gonna like it, especially if you already like things that are kind of like spice cake and pumpkin pie-esque, you know, with that kind of cinnamony taste.
Going into like fall season and like holidays around Christmas and Thanksgiving. It's very reminiscent of like, you know, your spice cakes, your pumpkin spice kind of.
Yeah, I think if you added this to your Thanksgiving table, I don't think any of your guests would be upset about it.
No, not at all.
Now, in terms of, I will say one little, just one little tiny caveat to it. You're going to put some work into this cake and you're going to dirty several dishes while making it. You know, this isn't just like a thrown together cake and then you're done. There's several steps to it, like I said, with the sifting, but also with the beating, you know, of your egg whites and different steps that you have to do in between, separating your egg yolks and that kind of thing. You really have to pay attention to the recipe because if you get something out of order, you might not end up with quite the same texture or fluffiness of the cake. So, you know, we say a lot like, this isn't something you'll want to make after work.
I would think of this as something you would make on a day off, and then you would have it for several days.
Yeah.
You know, to kind of snack on after that.
That's what, this is a weekend cake or a day off, and then, you know, you can go from there. But I wouldn't let that put you off the cake.
Yeah.
You know, definitely make it and try it. I think you're really going to be surprised at how well a wartime rationing recipe stood the test of time and really shined through. And I imagine they loved it then. And, you know, if we kind of get this cake rolling and some of these recipes going, I think, you know, a lot of people are going to like it now.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, as for next week, you know, myself included, a lot of people kind of put wartime rationing into kind of the baked goods category, you know, because it's your sweets, like your cookies and cakes and pies that typically did use up the most amount of rationed ingredients, eggs, shortening, oil, and sugar, you know. But this little pamphlet does have a recipe for an actual entree. Because not only were those other ingredients rationed, but so was meat. So the home cook of, you know, war years had to get really creative with what kind of entree do I fix my family, you know, with just limited amounts of meat and other ingredients. So we're going to do that. And of course, because it's Swan's down, it does have a biscuit topping on top of it. Yeah, and they show you how to make the biscuits with rationed ingredients also. So it's kind of a twofer recipe. We're just rationing almost everything. So we'll make that one, see how it tastes, and see if this little tiny pamphlet can pull out a 2 for 2.
Okay.
Which I think it will. I got my fingers crossed. So let's go ahead and check that out for next week. Thank you for watching this week. Really hope you try this cake. I just know you're going to love it. And stay tuned for next time. We'll see you then. Bye.
And if you like historical cooking and unusual cookbooks, here's 2 more videos you might enjoy. And make sure to like and subscribe for more foodie adventures.